Hello, in this video we're going to go through algebra, the start of algebra. So basically just looking at a few terms, definitions. It's extremely important that these go into your bound reference. So all these key ideas you can either copy into your book by hand, or you can just print out this page and stick it in. But please don't think, oh, I'll wait till I get to school to print it out. Okay, so if you don't have a printer at home, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to do it by hand. Okay, so we're going to go through all these dot points of the key ideas, and then we will do some questions together, and then I'll tell you what questions you can do from your textbook. All right, so in algebra, letters can be used to stand for numbers. Okay, so a pronumeral is a letter that stands for a number. Okay, and it's extremely important that you remember that word pronumeral. So a pronumeral is just the term we give for the letter that stands for a number. So if you think, for example, my age, I'm going to give it the letter A. Okay, so my age is represented by the letter A, and your age can be represented by the letter B. So if we wanted to work out the sum of our ages, it would be A plus B. But that letter A actually stands for my age, which is 37. And B stands for your age, which is 12. So if we were to add them together, we would have 37 plus 12, which is 49. Okay, so pronumeral is a letter that stands for a number. So if we wanted to do the difference between our ages, it could be A minus B. Okay, so 37 minus 12. You could do twice my age, which would be 2A. Okay, so that's just what a pronumeral is. If a pronumeral could represent any number rather than just one, it is called a variable. So a good example of this is maybe the number of cakes a baker sells in a day. Okay, so one day they might sell 10, another day they might sell 7, but if we let the letter that represents the number of cakes being sold be n changes every day. Okay, so on Monday n is equal to 10, on Tuesday n is equal to 7, on Wednesday n could equal to 15. Okay, so it varies day by day. All right, second dot point. A times B is written as AB. Okay, so we don't really keep that multiply sign. So I'm just going to show you where we are. So here, there's an implied multiply. Okay, so A times B is written as AB, and A divided by B, we usually write it like this, like a fraction. Okay, so we don't really use the multiply or the divide sign. Third point, a term consists of a number of pronumerals combined with multiplication or division. Okay, and that's important to remember. So there's our our third word. Okay, so we had pronumeral, variable. Now we've got term. Okay, so a term consists of numbers and pronumerals combined with multiplication or division, or a combination of both. For example, 5 is a term. Okay, X is a term. 9A is a term. ABC is a term. And then 4X, YZ over 3 is also a term. But if we had something like 5 plus A, that is not one term, that is two separate terms. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a sec. So two separate terms there. So they can have to be connected either with a multiplication or a division sign, or they have to be on their own. As you can see here, it's with the 5 and the X. Okay, so even though they're not multiplied by anything other than 1, okay, they are a term on their own. All right, a term that does not contain any pronumerals, so no letters, is called a constant. Okay, a constant term. So in this one here, the number 5 is a constant term. All numbers by themselves are constant terms. Okay, so the A isn't a constant even though it's by itself, but 5 is a constant. Okay, so the A is a pronumeral or a term on its own. All right, an algebraic expression consists of numbers and pronumerals combined with any mathematical operation. Okay, so here we have expression. For example, 3x plus 2yz is an expression, and you can say it contains two terms, 3x and 2yz. So it's just separated by an addition sign. 8 divided by 3a minus 2b plus 41 is also an expression. Okay, let's just scroll up. Okay. Lastly, a coefficient is a number in front of a pronumeral. So that's extremely important to remember as well. So the coefficient. For example, the coefficient of y in the expression 8x plus 2y plus z is 2. Okay, so the number in front of the y is 2. Number in front of the x is 8. So the coefficient of x is 8. And we don't have a number in front of z, but there is in fact a number 1. So the coefficient of z is 1. Oh, and that's what it says just here. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through not all of these. So this is actually question 4 from 5A. But I'll just go through a few of them because I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, so 5 is added to x. Okay, let's do question A first. 5 is added to x. Okay, so let's add that to x. So 5 plus x. Then the result is doubled. So we want the result. When it says that, we've got to put brackets around it, and effectively we're multiplying that by 2. Okay, so we're doubling it. Now, when we're writing an algebraic expression, we usually don't write it like that. So anything that is like a number that is multiplying brackets, we put it out the front. So even though, oops, it's supposed to be an x, even though this is the same thing, okay, and technically that's not wrong, it's just a nicer way of writing it. So 2 times, in brackets, 5 plus x. Okay, so question B, A is tripled. Okay, so when we're tripling something, it means we're multiplying it by 3. Then 4 is added. And as before, okay, we put the coefficient in front. So it's going to be 3a plus 4. Okay, let's maybe skip to G. So I can't do all of them. P is halved. Okay, so if something is halved, it's the same as dividing it by 2. And then 2 is added. Okay, so I'm just doing G here. P is halved and then 2 is added. Now remember in our key ideas above that we don't really write the division sign. We write it like a fraction. So it's P over 2 plus 2. And then H, the product. So product means to multiply of x and y. So we're going to multiply them together. Notice how I'm writing my x's different to my multiply sign. Try not to have your x's look like multiply signs. So always use cursive font. So the product of x and y is subtracted from 12. So we're subtracting this from 12. So luckily I got a bit of space there. And remember, we don't write expressions with the multiply sign. So it's just 12 minus xy. Okay, so those other ones you will do as a part of this section. All right, so here we've got a worded problem. So Nicholas buys 10 lolly bags from a supermarket. So question A, if there are 7 lollies in each bag, how many lollies does he buy in total? So he's got 10 lolly bags. Yeah, and 7 lollies in each bag. So he's got 70 in total. Okay, so no algebra really needed there. But let's say we don't know how many lollies are in each bag. How many will he buy in total? So it's kind of the same thing. He still has 10 bags, but this time the amount of lollies or the number of lollies is unknown. So it's just going to be n. And then remember, we don't write algebraic expressions with a multiply sign. So it's just going to be 10n. All right, let's move on to the last question. Michaela is paid X dollars per hour at her job. Write an expression for each of the following amounts in dollars. Okay, so question A, how much does Michaela earn if she works 8 hours? So she's working 8 hours. So there's going to be 8 times how much she gets paid. And she gets paid X dollars. We don't know how much it is. So it's just going to be 8x, 8 times x, 8x. So if she gets paid $10 an hour, it's going to be 8 times 10. Or if she gets $15 per hour, it's going to be 8 times 15. Okay, so the value of x, we don't know. All right, question B, if Michaela gets a pay rise of $3 per hour, what is her new hourly wage? So we don't know how much she got paid because it's represented by X, but we do know she gets $3 more. So if she gets paid $10, it's going to be 10 plus 3, which is 13. If she gets $15, it's 15 plus 3, which is 18. Okay, so just write an expression for that. All right, lastly, if Michaela works for 8 hours at the increased hourly rate, how much does she earn? So this time it's 8 times, oops, oh no, that's right, sorry. I was going to simplify that, but we don't simplify the addition sign. So X plus 3, so there's how much she gets paid, 8 times whatever this amount is, and then we don't usually write the multiply sign, so I'm just going to write the 8 out the front of the brackets. Okay, thank you, bye.